sugar phone. Better dead in my bitch to the tone.
Hello everybody, welcome to today's episode of Cupcake Media. I'm your host, Master Shake. It's been a while, but we are back, and we're going to talk about something that I absolutely love, and that is cars. Because for those of us who live in the United States, primarily in California and in the European Union, where we are supposed to be democratic, free nations, we're supposed to have free market capital, it feels like those things are slowly changing because we're having those ideas and elements replaced by fascism, dictatorship, a closed economy, and elements of communism. And what we're going to really get at here is electric cars, because the EU has a ban on conventional gasoline cars coming into effect in 2035. California has a weird ban as well. And whether these things will work or not is up for the public to decide. Personally, I think these are very stupid bans, because when was the last time the government ever made a proper decision and it turned out to be true? Let's not forget not too long ago how they told us that masks were going to protect us all and that the shot for COVID is going to make us, immune, and then they kept changing the story. And then that wonderful study came out from Oxford showing that even N95 masks didn't do shit. So let's dive into electric cars, because I love cars, and I'm not an EV hater, but I do believe in freedom of choice, and especially in the free market of capital, because I believe that it is the invisible hand, and it's the market that really dictates who the winner is. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about electric cars today, and we're going to discuss, are they really better for the planet than petrol/gasoline or diesel cars? Or are they just another way of shifting the problem elsewhere, which is something that the Western world has done very well? So let's kind of dive into this and find out. So what is an electric car? Many of us know, and for those of you that don't, I'm going to tell you what it is. An electric car is basically a car that uses electricity that are stored in battery packs to power an electric motor. So they don't have like a V8, they don't have a V10. They have no tailpipe emissions. That's something very important to know, which means that they don't produce any carbon dioxide, any nitrogen oxides, or other pollutants that can contribute to climate change and air pollution. However, this does not mean that they have no environmental impact. In fact, electric cars may be less green than hoped due to several factors. Now we're going to dive into what those factors are. First, electric cars require a lot of electricity, both during their manufacturing and when they are on the road. The electricity used to charge electric cars may come from renewable sources, such as solar or wind power, but it also comes from fossil fuels, such as coal or natural gas. Depending on your source of electricity, electric cars may still emit greenhouse gases indirectly through the power grid. According to the study by the University of Cambridge, electric cars in China emit more carbon dioxide than petrol cars because of the high reliance on coal-fired power plants. That's something very important to know. Even in countries with cleaner electricity sources, such as the UK or France, electric cars may still emit more carbon dioxide than hybrid cars. Now, this is coming out of the University of Cambridge. This is a very in-depth study they did. Second idea, is that secondly, electric cars are much heavier than petrol or diesel counterparts due to the enormous batteries that they have. That extra weight means that they use more energy and cause more wear and tear on the roads. So to give you an idea, most EV cars, even like their sedans, are weighing close to 2.5 tons, or over 6,000 pounds. The new EV Hummer is as heavy as a full-on, big rig truck. It weighs 10,000 pounds. A car that's supposed to be a family car weighs as much as a truck. When you drive on some freeways, it says max capacity, like 12,000 pounds, for example, or if you weigh 10,000 pounds or more, you got to go to the weigh station. So that's something important to know. Because of this heavy weight, that extra weight means that they use more energy and cause more wear and tear on the roads. Let me just repeat that. So this in turn generates more polluting fine particles from brake linings, tires, and road surface wear. Those particles are known as PM 2.5. And they can penetrate deep into the lungs and worsen respiratory diseases. They contribute to tens of thousands of deaths each year. According to the Environment Secretary George Eustace, The gains from switching to electric cars from petrol and diesel ones may be less than some people hope for because of these particles. Third, electric cars use batteries that contain rare and precious metals, such as lithium, cobalt, nickel, and manganese. And if I butcher that, I apologize. These metals are mined from different parts of the world, often in countries with weak environmental and human rights regulations. To give you an idea how terrible these conditions are, just look up cobalt mining in Congo. It is one of the most grotesque things that you'll ever see, and somehow, for example, white people in America and in Europe think that by converting people and forcing people to make a decision that they did not choose is going to somehow save the world. But then you have these little African kids being enslaved, and then their environment is getting further destroyed in ways that we can't even imagine. Now let's get back to this mining process. The mining process can cause deforestation, water pollution, soil erosion, habitat loss, and human exploitation, which is what we're talking about in Congo. The batteries also have a limited lifespan and need to be replaced every few years. The disposal or recycling of these batteries can pose another environmental challenge, as they can leak toxic chemicals or catch fire if not handled properly. So as you can see, electric cars are not as green as they appear. They may have some benefits over conventional cars in terms of reducing tailpipe emissions. Now, for those of you who don't know what tailpipe emissions are, here's a model of a Porsche GT2 RS. Tailpipe basically is the exhaust, right? So they have no tailpipe emissions, and that is true. But the pollution is being transferred elsewhere, and that is going up to the atmosphere. We know that when things go up to the atmosphere, they circulate around the globe. For example, we know that pollution being made in China reaches California, and it contributes to global warming and climate change. So, even though electric cars are not as green as they appear, and we know that they have some benefits over conventional cars in terms of reducing tailpipe emissions, but they also have some drawbacks in terms of increasing electricity demand, generating fine particles, and using scarce resources. Therefore, we shouldn't rely on electric cars as the ultimate solution to our environmental concerns and our environmental problems. Instead, we should look for other ways to reduce our car dependence altogether, such as using public transport, cycling, walking, or car sharing. These options are not only better for the environment, but also for our health and well-being. Now, another thing I wanted to discuss is that this comes out of the Daily Mail. And there was a study done in there that said that the International Energy Agency, the IEA, estimates that if every nation achieves their ambitious targets on increasing electric car ownership, it will reduce CO2 emissions in this decade by 235 million tons. Sounds a lot, but let me read further. According to the UN Climate Panel's standard model, will reduce that reduction of 235 million tons. According to the UN Climate Panel's standard model, it will reduce global temperatures by about 1/10,000th of a degree Celsius by the end of the century. So that means that if every nation achieves their ambitious targets of electric car ownership, the global temperature won't even fall by half a degree. Not even 1 degree, not even half a degree. It will only potentially decrease by 1/10,000th of a degree Celsius by the end of this century. That means it'll get reduced by, ready for this, 0.0001 degrees Celsius. So you got to think about it, like, is this really going to benefit the environment? You have this data out here which is showing that it's only going to get reduced. It's not even going to get reduced. You won't even feel the impact. So the thing is that, these models, climate